Hello and welcome back everyone to the video series dedicated show on CBS that is just itching to get back into this race after a 19-month pause. That's right, we're talking about The Amazing Race Season 33, Episode 4, and just how we left off last week. We start off this week where 5 teams meet up with Phil in Switzerland, and we see that those 5 teams are Dusty and Ryan, Raquel and Kayla, Lulu and Lala, Kim and Penn, and Akbar and Sherry. Now, when we last left off, we had 9 teams left in the race. Sadly and unfortunately, those 4 teams are unable to come back and finish this race due to various and personal reasons. And so Phil said he reached out to some familiar faces to come back onto the show. And we see that those familiar faces are the singing cops of Michael and Mo, who were eliminated first in the first leg, and also the father-daughter duo of Natalia and Arun. They were eliminated in leg 3, but those 2 teams are back. And when Phil asked everybody how they felt about these eliminated teams coming back into the race, everybody is cool with it. They're excited. They're happy to see that their friends are back, but also them being here means that they can finish off the race and finish off this season. So everybody is excited. We take some time to go around and see how everybody was doing in quarantine, what they were doing since the last time we saw them. Dusty says that he is used to being in lockdown, so he kind of just went back into prison mode. Everybody had a good chuckle with that. That was a good way to kick things off. And then you have Raquel and Kayla, who sadly lost their jobs because they're flight attendants, and during the lockdown and COVID, nobody was traveling. So they had to deviate from what makes them happy and their dreams of traveling and being in that realm of flying and traveling, and they had to do something else for work. From the last time we saw them, Natalia got married, and then Lulu and Lola talked about how they had to work from their basement. They were going through a lot personally, but also their grandmother had passed due to COVID during the lockdowns and during the pandemic, and they couldn't be there with her. So they're running this race for her, and this is in memory of her. So we get a little taste of everybody's personal experiences through lockdown. We kind of feel a sense of connection between everybody because they just went through exactly what we were going through and what some people are still going through and being locked down and in the shutdown and dealing with COVID still. So with everybody saying that, that's when Phil says that the differences going forward in this race is that there are going to be no more like going through planes and airports. They're going to take private jets and charters. So there's no first flights, second heats, or anything like that. Everybody's just going to be on the same flight. And then also no taxis. So less taxis, you're driving yourself. So to me, this is super even playing field, that you're not going to get a bad taxi driver. You're not going to miss a flight or have to book a connection flight to try to see if you can pass a different team. No, everybody is on the same playing field. Now this comes down to the challenges. This comes down to the roadblocks and the detours, and if you can hang and if you can figure out directions. This comes down solely on the players. They take all the variables pretty much out of it, and it's up to the players to win this race now. So at the end, Phil tells them that they need to go to the Museum of Strasse to find their clue when he says, go. Once he says go, everybody takes off. They're like in a big giant herd. Nobody wants to like deviate because they're all trying to get to the same place. They get to the museum to find 3 buses. Once everybody gets on the bus, they get their clue, and it tells them essentially sit on the bus. It'll take you to your next destination where you're going to have to get into a cable car that's going to take you 8,000 feet and to your next clue. So everybody takes a seat. This is another point where we can talk to everybody and how they're doing, see what they've been doing in the lockdown to see if they can like hone their skills, like Dusty and Ryan. We have Natalia and Arun and Michael and Mo on the same bus where they're talking about how they're just very excited to be on The Amazing Race again, that they have a second life and they do not want to be the first team gone. All 3 buses get to their destination. They all run. They get on the same cable car. They move to the top of this mountain where they find their clue, where they open it up, and this is the roadblock for this leg of the race, where one teammate is going to have to traverse down this very rocky path all the way down to get a clue from a clue box and then come all the way back. That's all you have to do. It's very steep. It's very rocky. The altitude could really do a number on you if you're not used to it. So Dusty and Ryan are out in front. There's no real way to pass unless you're going to run on this rocky terrain, kind of like Penn did. I was worried for Penn's ankles. I'll be honest. When he was running down to the clue box and then trying to run back up to pass a whole bunch of teams, I was nervous because there was points where he did kind of like slip a little bit, and I was like, oh boy, you just got back on the Amazing Race. Do not just instantly crack your ankle. But he was fine. Everybody was able to do this. Once you're clipped into the rope, you're not really passing anybody except for Sherry, who decides she's doing this roadblock. Now, Sherry and Akbar are both very afraid of heights. Sherry, in the cable car, was freaking out about how high they were going, but because of the way the path was very narrow, the rope was pretty low down, Sherry was thinking that Akbar is too tall for this roadblock, so she decides that she's just going to do it. She's going to bite the bullet, go for it, and she takes her time. She is taking her time tremendously, just going down and coming back. All the teams pass her. I do have to say that I really enjoyed the camaraderie amongst this group as they are passing Sherry. Everybody is giving her some words of encouragement, and it didn't feel like sarcastic or like taken in a different way. It just felt all genuine. Everybody was just telling her, like, you can do this. You got this. Take your time. Just breathe. You got this. And she was able to do it, but she did it way slower than everybody else. By the time she got her clue, everybody else got back on the cable car, got down to the ground floor, and then they were all running to their cars where their clue told them that they had to go to Gasthaus Son to get their next clue. And first of all, have to say that happy these cars are automatic. Michael and Mo, first team eliminated in the first leg, was 6th place to start off this leg, is now in first place as they get their clue first, and they open it up and they find that it is the clue to the detour for this leg of the race. And the detours are punch it or toss it. In punch it, you have to make a belt that tells a story using ornaments. You have to tell the story in the right way. You have to make the belt completely perfect. And then you'll get your next clue to the pit stop to meet up with Phil. Or you could do Toss It, which you have to learn and perform this flag choreography, and then you would get your next clue to meet up with Phil at the next pit stop. When hearing the rules of both detours, I instantly thought that majority of everybody would go do the belt. I thought the belt would be the easiest. The belt is labor intensive instead of creative and having to move your body, move this flag in a certain way. It kind of reminded me of last leg where it was either build the barrels or do the dance, and it was an even split, but I felt that majority of everybody that got the clues first was like, let's go do the barrel. So I thought everybody was going to want to do the belt. Nobody wanted to do the belt. Everybody went to go to Toss It except for the father-daughter duo and the singing cops. They both went to the belt, which it took forever to do this, it seemed. I mean, I guess all the teams that did Toss It was able to get the choreography down really well. And there must have been something else to the belts that was taking it a lot longer, unless these teams were making it longer than it should have been, because it just seemed like the two teams that were doing the belts just took forever, while everybody else who did Toss It was coming in first, second, third, fourth, even fifth. Like, they all finished in the top 5, where we have Ryan and Dusty, Kim and Penn doing the flag first. They're waving it around. They're trying to figure out this choreography. Kim and Penn try it first. They do the first attempt. They get it wrong when they misstep here. And then we have Ryan and Dusty who do it perfectly on their first attempt. There was a point where Dusty and Ryan were looking at the detour rules and was like, oh, we should have done the belt. The belt is the way to go. Should we change? Luckily, they didn't, because not only would they have had to find where the belt making place was, but then they would have to do the belt. And again, it was taking forever. So they stuck with it. They practiced a couple more times. They decided to do it. They finished this detour in first place. Kim and Penn try it a second time. They mess up. They try it a third time, and they get it on the third attempt. 3 times a charm. We have Lulu and Lala trying this in a different room alongside Raquel and Kayla, who are also at the Toss It. And Lulu and Lala decide to try it out. They get it on their first attempt. They leave in third place. Kayla and Raquel decide that they're going to try it out, even though they were having some difficulties as well. I mean, this choreography is not easy. Not only do you have to move yourself, but you have to move this flag. So they're going between the legs, they're going behind their back, they're trying to do this like soup turning and then toss it up in the air. I mean, this was a lot of choreography, but Raquel and Kayla knocked this out of the park. So the top 4 teams are heading out from Toss It. Once Raquel and Kayla are leaving their detour, this is when Akbar and Sherry are pulling up to the Toss It detour, and Raquel and Kayla are giving them some advice like pay attention, go slow, take your time, just try to get it done. We move back over to the Punch It, and they're still working on their belts. I mean, the father-daughter are doing their best. They're almost done. Now, the thing about this Punch It is that you have to go in the right order. You have to have the right spacing. You have to make the belt properly so the little decorations don't fall off. But the thing that happens that really opens the door for Akbar and Sherry, who are in last place throughout this whole leg up until the ending, because Michael and Mo are doing the belt the opposite way. They are telling their story backwards, essentially, on this belt. So when Natalya and Arun get their belt checked and they get a thumbs up, that's when Michael and Mo know that they're sunk. They show their belt off. The guy gives them a thumbs down, gives them new belt parts and belt, and tells them to redo it. So they have to redo this whole thing all over again. But luckily for Michael and Mo, Akbar and Sherry are shown to have a difficult time learning the toss-it routine, and Natalya and Arun are lost, just like in episode 3. They have to ask for directions where the guy says, you are going in the opposite direction. So this opens the door for not only Michael and Mo, but Akbar and Sherry, who nail this toss-it detour pretty easily. So they get their clue. They're heading to Alstatten for the pit stop. Let's go talk about who is meeting up with Phil from first to last. We have Dusty and Ryan getting in first place, but close behind them is Kim and Penn. Then we have Raquel and Kayla and Lulu and Lala racing for third and fourth, where Raquel and Kayla get third place, Lulu and Lala get fourth place. And then we have Akbar and Sherry come up to Phil. They do not feel good about this leg. They don't feel good about their performance. They feel like they are done. They feel like how they did in episode 3. A lot of what happened in this episode reminded me of episode 3. But Akbar and Sherry meet up with Phil. I feel like they are trying to make themselves feel okay with coming in last place. But that's when Phil says, like, it's really difficult when you're away from the game for so long, 19 months, you come back and you're the first team to be eliminated, but that's not you. And Akbar and Sherry, again, this big smile from Akbar, just knowing that they are not eliminated from the game, and it's just this huge sigh of relief as they are in fifth place. They hopped over both teams that did the belt, because not only did they have to do the belt, which seemed to take forever, but they both got lost, where they both had to ask for directions. And then we come to team number 6, which is Natalya and Arun, getting in 6th place, and sad again in 7th place. And last place, we have Michael and Mo, the Singing Cops. Now, in the beginning of this episode, I was like, there's no way that this is an elimination leg. No way. There's no way. I mean, they just got all these teams back. They got them all into one area. It took 19 months. This would be heartbreaking for anybody to leave first after waiting 19 months to stay on this race. But sad to say that it is an elimination leg. So Michael and Mo, the Singing Cops, are eliminated from the game. And I completely understand where they're coming from with making this an elimination leg. I just felt like they couldn't. I just really didn't think that it was going to be an elimination leg. But it is an elimination leg. So Michael and Mo are eliminated again, sadly. Now we have our top 6 teams, and that is it for this episode. What'd you think about this episode of The Amazing Race? Let me know that in the comment section below. What'd you think about this leg in particular? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you think that it was too simple? What do you think about the new rules going forward with the private jets, the charters, and driving themselves? Do you like that rule or do you not like that rule? Let me know that in the comment section below. And out of the 6 teams that are left, who are you rooting for? And are you sad to see the Singing Cops eliminated yet again? Let me know anything and everything you thought about this episode down in the comment section below. Thank you so much again for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really soon with more content. But until then, peace.